Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Walker Motorsports Race Shop. We just got word from Championship Power Sports that our brand new KTM450SXF race bikes have just arrived and they put them together for us. They're getting the paperwork all done. We're about to head over there and pick up our brand new race bikes for the season, which is so sick, but it's a little bittersweet because sadly that means we have to say goodbye to a legend of the channel. My very first KTM450SXF that I got at the beginning of the 2020 season. Right after I got home from the whole FXR Chaparral Honda deal, I got rid of the Hondas and this was the very first KTM that I picked up. And it has just been such an awesome bike. Got 75 hours on it now and literally I've gone through one top end, maybe 2 sets of clutch plates, and the thing has been absolutely rock solid. Been through like what, 10 Pro Nationals with me. We scored points on it at Loretta's in the mud and it's just been an awesome bike, man. It's, you know, the bike that made me fall in love with KTM, and it's kind of a sad day that we're gonna have to say goodbye to it, but she'll live on in our hearts. So we're gonna go ahead and load up this beauty in big red and head over to Championship Power Sports. Kind of a sad day, but obviously it had to be done. So let's go ahead and load up the Relic and head over to Championship Power Sports. Kind of sad, dude. It's the very last time I will load up that bike into big red. I'm getting a little emotional about it, man. I just got to keep reminding myself it's for the greater good. On to bigger and better things. With that said, let's go hit the road. And it is worth mentioning, guys, we do not get these bikes free from KTM. I have just been working with Championship Power Sports ever since like I was on PW50s. We've just built a really good relationship with those guys over there. The Dervage family owns the dealership and they are just the nicest people. I raced professionally with their son Greg for a long time. He was kind of my mentor growing up. He's a few years older than me and was racing pro when I was still coming up through amateurs and stuff, so he took me under his wing and kind of showed me the ropes, and so I kind of owe everything that I have to him. So just really good friends with them and we built a really good relationship. They're located in Wauseon, Ohio. If you guys are looking for any of the Austrian brands, KTM, Husky, or Gas, or Honda, highly suggest you guys go check them out. They have a really nice place. They always have bikes and they're just very good people. Finally time. Goodbye to a legend. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I've ever actually shown you guys Championship Power Sports in person, so here we are, your first look. Day one working on the brand new Walker Motorsports race bikes that you can see behind me here. My bike is going to be just my dedicated race bike because we have my practice bike over there already. So since I have a lot of time before the season, we're going to go full in on my race bike. We're going to get the head done. We're going to get all the suspension done. We're going to get this thing turned into a really sick race bike. So the goals of today are to get the head pulled off and shipped out to DASA Racing. They're a pretty well-known engine builder down in the Carolinas. One of their engine builders, Lonnie, used to work at Championship Power Sports. He built my 2019 Honda 250 that you guys would have seen that I raced the Pro Nationals on. He's built a couple other bikes for me that I was really impressed with. So I trust that guy to build this engine as well. Very excited to be working with them. This will be my very first time pulling a head off of a bike. I've never done a top end or anything myself. It's just always been a little bit intimidating, but I figured now that we have this awesome race shop, something I should learn how to do. Pulling the head off is a pretty easy task, so I figured that's a good starting point. Then once we get that done, I'm also gonna be pulling the suspension off and we are gonna bring that over to Turbo Speed Tuning to get done. So goals of this video: get the head taken off, get the suspension taken off. We recruited the help from my father. Not that he knows what he's doing either. We've never been the type to work on our own bikes other than just doing the very basic stuff like chains, sprockets, you know, clutches and stuff like that. So we had him watching a video on how to do it. very thankful for YouTube, and we're gonna get down and gritty getting this thing pulled apart. So I believe the first thing we gotta do is start taking stuff off, like the seat, the plastic, and the gas tank. So we'll just dive right into it, start working on this thing. Okay, well, I'd say it's going swimmingly so far. Everything is disconnected now from the head, so I'm pretty sure now we're good to pull the valve cover off, pull the cam out, and then pull the head studs and pull the head out. So it's actually going much easier than I thought it would be. For some reason, whenever I think of motor work, it's always very intimidating to me, but like everything, working on the house, working on the barn, doing bike work, I'm finding that as long as you have the right tools, a good workshop, and the balls to try it, it always ends up being a lot easier than I'm expecting. So it's actually pretty fun. It's going nicely. So let's pull that valve cover off, take a look inside of this beast. Wow, that's intimidating to look at.
It's a very simple design, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, guys, so you can see we have this little dimple right here, pretty much straight up and down. When you get to this point, KTM actually has a pretty nifty little screw over here. You can see this bolt that has the washer on it. When you pull this bolt out and take the washer out and then put the bolt back in, it actually goes into a little recess in the crank down here, only when you have it in top dead center. So what we're gonna do, back this out. We already took the oil out, crucially. If you don't, the oil will come spilling out of this, obviously. So you wanna take the oil out, remove this bolt, remove the washer, and put the bolt back in. You can feel if it doesn't wanna go in all the way, you don't have it perfectly in top dead center. So you can put the bike in gear, start wiggling the back wheel back and forth as you're kind of lightly trying to thread this bolt in. And once it seats in, you know that you're in top dead center, and that locks it in place so that while we have the head off, it's not gonna move around on us, which is pretty sweet. Heads up thinking from KTM. Probably gonna be a little bit of residual oil left in the bottom, so always a good idea to put a little paper towel down. As you can see, a little bit comes out. But yeah, you go ahead, back this guy out. A little splurge, no worries. We got the paper towel, pull the washer off, and go ahead and put it in just by hand. You don't want to tighten it just in case you aren't in top dead center and it could damage your crank. But here you go. We can see really slowly threading that in, and it actually went perfectly flush. So somehow we got it exactly straight up and down on the first try. Normally it's a little bit tougher than that, but here you can see it went in super, super easy. So looks like we found top dead center first try. Let's go. Okay,
which way are you gonna slide it out?
Probably your way.
Yeah, I've got the chain.
Okay, I got it. You can feed it.
Drop everything through. Piece of safety wire will be a little easier next time, but.
I got this. Can you grab that? Boom. Easy. Look at that. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The duo of Papa Walker and Jaywalk can officially remove a head from a KTM450SXF. We had complete confidence in ourselves, of course. Here's the little unit. I think it's all gonna fit in a gallon Ziploc bag to just contain any oil that's in there. Then we're gonna package that up and ship it down to Lonnie at DASA Racing. So that should be pretty good. He says reliability should be great because they don't actually change any components. They just do porting and ECU tuning. So we'll go ahead and set this and the ECU down to them. Very, very excited. It's been a long time since I rode a mod 450. I mean, 450s are super fast as it is, but what's nice about the KTM 450 is that the power comes on so mellow that I feel like I could actually handle even some more horsepower. So I'm really, really excited, especially for like the whole shot or super deep qualifying practice when the track is like 3 feet of mud. I think having a couple extra ponies is gonna be really good. So super excited to see how that is. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the suspension off and get that ready to send over to Turbo Speed Tuning. And boom, just like that, 2 bolts, shock is off. I love how easy it is working on this KTM. It's just super easy to do everything on them. So here we go, took a brand new bike and here's the destruction that we did in one afternoon. Pretty sad, but means good things are on the way. So easy enough, shock is off. Let's go take that thing over to Turbo Speed, get a new setting, and then hopefully it's dialed. We can get the other set set up identically and get freaking shredding these things. So the great thing about working with Turbo Speed, which is right down the road, and then also at the same time having 2 sets of suspension, is that the very first setup that Turbo did for me is on my practice bike right now, and the forks are almost dead on. Like they need to be maybe just 2 to 3% stiffer on the big impacts. Like if I'm coming up to a jump wide open and I slam into the face of it, I can feel some bottoming out in that scenario. Through like low speed chop, it feels dead on the money. But the rear shock, me being taller and heavier than, you know, the people that they're used to working with, found that the shock definitely needs to be a little bit stiffer on big and little hits altogether. So what's nice about having the second set of suspension is I can run the brand new shock off the race bike, and then they already have my other set of cone valves out there. So I give them all this feedback. They can make those changes with this set of suspension that's over there while I'm still riding my practice bike with the current setup. So obviously it's been pretty cold out around here, but this weekend we're gonna have some nice weather. And so it's sweet that they can be actively changing my setup while I'm still riding, you know, my practice bike. So I'm not losing out on any valuable practice time. And then obviously when they tell me that the new setting is ready, I can just run over there, swap out the sets of suspension, put the new set on my practice bike, and leave the new set like on standby over at Turbo Speed. And as soon as I give them the feedback that either A, the new setting is perfect, they can go ahead and put that new setting in the other set of suspension. I can bring that home and put it on the race bike, and we're good to rip for the season. Or, you know, if we find out that maybe we went a little bit too stiff on the rear, or it still needs to be a little bit stiffer, they can go ahead, put the new setting in that suspension, and we just do the thing all over again. That's been what is just awesome about working with Turbo Speed, but just having them right down the road is so sick, and very fortunate to be working with them, and I'm pretty excited to show you guys around the shop. Ryder Power Sports, baby. Home of Turbo Speed tuning. Jetson. What's up, buddy? Brought you a new chew toy. What's up, gentlemen? Brought the goods for you to work your magic on.
What you got for us today?
We got the goods, dude. Yeah. I told them a little bit about what you guys were doing, mainly about the bladder kit, so I was hoping you guys could tell us a little bit about, you know, the bladder kit, and they're gonna notice that this canister is turning black, and they're gonna ask me about it, so I figured we might as well get it out of the way.
Yeah, we can do that.
That's one of the biggest things you guys were adamant about, was changing out the bladder kit, so I figured, you know, we might as well tell them what's up. So
for sure.
I'll let you take it away.
So obviously you're running cone valves. Totally different fork than the stock AER fork.
Yep.
And we're trying to match the shock to that. So the bladder kit is it's actually a Race Tech part that we sell. You're backed by Race Tech as well. It replaces this silver cartridge right here. Stock one actually has a piston in it, which I can show you. I've got one apart.
Excellent.
Here.
You were prepared. You didn't even know I was going to throw this at you.
Didn't even know you were coming, but this is the stock piston kit right here. Stock chamber has a composite piston in it, and it runs up and down inside this cylinder here.
Gotcha.
And this is the piston, has an O-ring on it. Basically, this has a lot more stiction than a rubber bladder style.
Yeah, you can see it right now.
Even just putting it in, it's tougher. Where a rubber bladder, you can crush it with your hand a lot easier.
Got you. So what does that do exactly?
Basically, from transitioning oil from port to port, it's actually going to help oil flow quicker and essentially get the shock to stick to the ground faster. Just to kind of show the difference, this is off of a mini bike, but this is a bladder compared to that piston.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things I noticed on the new setup that you guys gave me, was that it just holds up a lot better, and that must be just rebounding faster.
It allows the shock to react quicker and come back faster.
Yeah, I could tell a lot.
This is what's inside of a bladder.
Got you.
A bladder instead of a piston style. So you can see how easy it is to crush. It moves a lot quicker with the oil flow.
Got you. Cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the one thing Tyler was telling me, that when you do switch over to the bladder, you kind of have to make sure you make it a lot stiffer.
Yeah.
And so that was the one thing. The forks, I was telling them, were like almost dead spot on.
Yeah.
But the rear was just a little bit soft. So I think on this one, we're going a little bit stiffer, kind of all around. And then on the forks, you were kind of explaining to me, like, coming into corners, it felt super good in the chop and stuff. Honestly, even maybe a tiny bit stiff. And I was kind of going softer and softer on the clickers. But then I noticed I went to a track where there were some really high speed straightaways into some like really steep, abrupt jump faces. And I could feel it bottoming out on the big hits. So we were kind of talking about like
going a little stiffer in the mid.
Yeah, a little stiffer in the mid while still keeping it nice and soft in the choppy stuff. So I brought my cone valves over a couple weeks ago. I don't know which set it is. Wow, you guys are absolutely slammed.
Got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, but yeah, so some good changes going on. The shock will be stiffened up a little bit.
Yeah, valving is completely different. When you run a bladder kit, you have to valve it much stiffer. Obviously, because there's less friction moving back and forth here now. So your valving is actually a much heavier valving trim stack than what you would have with the stock setup.
Gotcha, yeah. Well, I'm pretty stoked on it, so this should be a good change. Like I said, awesome working with the Turbo Speed guys. I can just drive over here in 25 minutes and, you know, tell these guys exactly what I'm feeling, and then they can make the changes, and I can have the suspension back in a matter of days. So awesome stuff over here at Turbo Speed Tuning. So show you guys the shop a little bit. It's a nice, modest little setup here, but they're doing a lot of stuff out here. So if you guys are in the area, even if you're not in the area, you can send it. But yeah, they do some great work here. I trust them at Pro Nationals, and the guys do an awesome job. So yeah, that's gonna close out this video, guys. We should have the suspension back and the head back pretty soon, and then we'll be testing out the race bike. Good stuff coming up. Thank you, Turbo Speed Tuning. You guys are the man. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, guys. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Look at my clothes.